Hi, I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, and how to build strong family bonds through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're going to be talking about how to use a calm down spot with children. Did you know that those wild little toddlers, those ones that are having tantrums all the time, actually want to be calm? Well, they do. In this video, we're going to talk about mistakes that parents commonly make that lead to more wild behavior, and then how you can use a calm down place to help your children learn the power of calm. No one likes it when their toddler is melting down, having a tantrum, going out of control. Especially they don't like it if the child is doing it in a public place. Parents get very frustrated, kind of frazzled. They start power struggling with their children, or they just let the behavior go because they feel like there's nothing I can do about it. We're here. We've just got to get from here to the car or to the next place or whatever. And so they stop talking about calmness or focusing on calmness, and they start focusing on survival, just making it through. And I definitely understand. We've all been there. We've all had that child that is just having a total meltdown in the place you don't want them to have it. But also these meltdowns happen at home, don't they? And when they happen at home, sometimes parents are so busy with so many of the to-do lists in their lives, then one mistake they make is they actually don't handle what needs to be handled. So probably the biggest mistake that parents make when they have little ones going out of control, or quite frankly, even older ones having tantrums and going out of control, is they keep their tolerances too high. If you keep tolerating that behavior, it's going to continue to get worse and worse. So the parents wait too long before they decide to put a stop on the behavior. We've got to get to that quicker. Now, I know for many people, they think, oh no, because then I have to go to a battle faster. Sometimes it just goes away on its own, and I don't want to have to deal with every little thing. But what you aren't recognizing is what actually happens inside the brain of a person. So when a person has a meltdown, they have a chemical change that happens in their brain. The chemicals start shifting what is controlling the activity in the brain. And then after a little bit of time, those chemicals just let down and the person might go back to thinking. But if you wait all the way until that letdown happens, they don't ever get to figure out that they chose to be calm, or that it's even possible to choose to be calm. Instead, what they think is they have to wait for their chemicals to just do everything. They become passive in their own bodies, not knowing that they can make powerful decisions for themselves, like how to be calm. So as parents, no matter the age of children, we need to be focusing on teaching our children to be calm. So I'm known all over the world for the books I've written about parenting. These parenting books are all about pointing the parent and the child to calmness. And by the way, these children's books teach the children the skills they need for calmness. So there's 4 basic skills that I teach. These children's books each teach one of those 4 basic skills, which are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. Those are just 4 of the skills children need, but they are the 4 basic skills, and they take care of 99% of behavioral problems. But in this book, Parenting a House United, I share with parents how they can get themselves calm and help their children get calm when the children aren't remembering to use the skills that they need to, or when they're feeling oppositional and just don't want to. So we know we don't want our tolerances too high. We know that we want to point our children toward calmness. So now how are we going to do that? Well, a calm spot is a big part of that. And we're going to talk about how to use a calm spot with children, young and old. I'm going to put my biggest focus on the younger ones though, because that's probably when you'll be using the calm down spot the most. But before we do that, do you see that little button that says subscribe? Click that button now. When you push that button, then you will get more tips on calmness for you and your child. So let's talk about how to train a child for calmness. So children need to understand what is calm and what is not calm. Remember those 4 basic skills that I talked about? Well, in every one of those 4 basic skills, there are skill sets. That means there's a set of things that you do. So to follow instructions, there's 5 steps to following instructions. Accepting no answers, 4 steps. accepting consequences, 6 steps, disagreeing appropriately, 7 steps. All of those 4 basic skills share a step in common. That step is to have a calm face, voice, and body. Well, a person can't have a calm face, voice, and body unless they understand what calm is and what calm isn't. So even if a child is very young, you can talk about what a calm face looks like and what a face looks like that's not calm, what a calm body looks like and what a body looks like that's not calm, what a calm voice sounds like and what a voice sounds like that's not calm. You can have these little role plays with a child so that they understand the difference between calm and not calm. And then you can explain, when we are not calm, we are going to need to get ourselves to calmness so that we can talk about things. So I've told my children, no matter the age, even if they were my teenage foster children or my children when they were in their teens, they knew I was not going to talk about any issue that they had unless we were calm first. That was the number one most important. We would be calm first. So that meant that we needed to have a plan, a calm plan for how to help them get calm. With my older children, we used something called the rule of 3 to help them get calm. You can learn all about the rule of 3 in my TSG parenting course or coming to some of my trainings or in my book, Parenting a House United. You can learn about that rule of 3 as well. So the rule of 3 is a process. It's just a verbal process that we would go through. We would do 3 things 3 times to help the child engage that prefrontal cortex, disengage from that amygdala, that emotional center of the brain, so that they can start thinking and choose to have that calmness. Because a person does have to choose calmness unless they are passive and just wait for their body chemicals to shift, like I mentioned earlier. So for my older children, we did the rule of 3, and then if they still were out of control after we did the rule of 3, they would go to a calm down spot. Well, my younger children, because their prefrontal cortexes were less developed, so when I say younger, I'm talking like under age 6, okay? They would just go to a calm down place if they were going completely out of control, and then we would do a correction and practice things the right way. So how did we institute this calm down place? It's different than you might think. When most people talk about a calm down place, I think that they are envisioning a time out spot, because time out was made very popular in the parenting world. Time out is when you send someone to a place and they stay for a certain period of time, and it is a negative consequence. A calm down spot is not a negative consequence, and a person doesn't have to stay there for a certain period of time. They only go there until they're calm. So this could mean that the second you tell them, oh, we need to go to the calm down place, if they take a deep breath and they say, I'm calm, then they don't even have to go to the calm down place. Or if they sit on the calm down place, instantly get calm, then you praise them and you have a correction about the situation, and then they accept a negative consequence, because they have to accept a negative consequence in order to be self-governing. If you just do something to a child, they don't get the opportunity to accept their consequence and recognize that they actually are self-governing. What you do is you tell them we need to go to the calm down place. If they stay there for 45 minutes, they stay there for 45 minutes because they're not calm yet. Now, the steps to being calm are in one of those 4 basic skills. If a person is calm, they can do the 5 steps of following instructions, which are they can look at the person, keep a calm face, voice, and body, say okay or ask to disagree appropriately, do the task immediately, which might just be a deep breath in this case, and then check back that they've done it. If they can do all 5 steps of following instructions whenever a parent gives them the instruction, then we know that the person is calm. Now, this doesn't mean that every time a child doesn't keep a calm face when they're following an instruction that they would go to a calm down spot. No, that isn't true. In fact, most of the time you would just do a correction, and I have specific steps for that so that you can do a calm and effective correction. However, when a child is not accepting their consequence for that correction and they're choosing to go even more out of control, then you know they probably need to go to that trigger spot. It's a trigger for calmness, that calm down spot. When a person is in a calm down spot, you're going to give them certain words. you're going to remind them they need to say okay. They need to take the deep breaths. If the person is going to run away from the calm down spot, I have a way to handle that. And I talk about that in my TSG parenting course, so you can find more information there, because some people have problems with their children running away from the calm down spot. But let's say you're not in that circumstance. Your child will stay in the calm down spot until they get calm. Then you're going to be telling them, okay, as soon as we can take deep breaths and say okay, then mommy will give you a big hug. Then mommy will give you a big hug and a high five, and then we'll talk about it. And talk about it means then we'll do a correction, and then they get the opportunity to accept their correction, which is usually just a simple, age-appropriate extra chore that they would do after that correction. But the most important part that comes after the calming process is actually them choosing to do the practices with you of practicing things the right way. When they can say, yes, I'm okay doing those practices, then you really know they're calm. Now, let's say they're on that calm down place and they are having a hard time getting calm, especially when they're little. What I do is I say, let's blow on our hand. Let's take deep breaths and blow on our hand. And then I say, I'll do it with you. Let's take deep breaths. The deep breathing and focusing on the deep breathing actually engages the prefrontal cortex, releases some of the chemical control in the brain, and helps the body get to a state of relax. So just breathing is really powerful for bringing a person to calmness. Stay there with them, breathe with them, but don't give them so much attention for their attitude problem or their out of control tantrum that they want to keep fueling it up because you're there. Stay in the area, kind of nearby, make sure you can see them, but don't give them attention unless it's just about getting calm. And if they talk back to you about something like, you don't love me, you hate me, you want me to do this, don't talk about it. Just say, I know you want to talk about how much I love you, and we can talk about that when we get calm. Let's get calm first. Let's take our deep breath. So the only conversation you have is about calmness until we get to calmness. Then we talk about the situation that led to it and anything else that they might want to talk about. Since you've stayed to the end of this video, I have a special gift for you that's going to hopefully help you and your children with calmness, and that is my Calm Parenting Toolkit. So I have a Calm Parenting Toolkit, which is a starter course to learning self-government. It's not going to teach you everything, but it will get you on the track to learning self-government. And that starter course is available right now for free if you click the link in the description below this video. So on my website, you can access the Calm Parenting Toolkit by going to teachselfgov.com/toolkit. And so if you go to that website right now and make sure you click on that toolkit, you can get it for free. That will help you and your children learn 10 tools that you can use for calmness. Click on the link now. I'll see you there.